Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review. I'm here today to talk to you about my thoughts on the MCU version of the Green Goblin. I almost said Hobgoblin because of the hoodie. Needless to say, I do not like this look whatsoever. The glider for the most part looks the same, a little bit thinner and smaller. However, what in the world is the MCU thinking? This doesn't even look like a Green Goblin. It's basically just an old man wearing a leather hoodie and a leather outfit with these decked out metal gauntlets on his hand and what looks like a pouch strapped to his side so he can put his pumpkin bombs in. What the world, man? Like, seriously, they dropped the ball big time on this. And I'm shocked and surprised because the MCU, for the most part, they're really good at being comics accurate with costumes. And they do a great job, whether it's the villain. No, so not so much the villain, mostly the hero. The villains, they take a different turn on their costume, but for the most part, they are still good. Like, this is probably as bad as Zemo's costume was in Captain America Civil War, where he just basically just wore regular clothes and stuff. Like, this is not even a costume. It just looks like a leather outfit with a hoodie, and that's it, and some metal gloves. I don't get what the world they was thinking. Like, is this their way of like Kevin Feige or haha, Sony, I don't like you, so I'll make your villains look stupid. Like, seriously, it's like when a former TNA star goes over to WWE and Vince just makes a fool out of them and then releases them within half a year's time. And like, seriously. And this is exactly what it is, because Sony and Marvel don't get along, and Sony still owns the rights to Spider-Man, and they had a huge fight, which they was gonna take Spider-Man back, but fans didn't want it, and Tom Holland didn't want to go to Sony. I don't know why. The Sony Spider-Man movies have been a million times better than anything the MCU Spider-Man movies have been. Now, the only time I ever liked Spider-Man in the MCU is when he's doing the Avengers stuff. When he has his solo movies, I have never been impressed. However, I still have not seen the second one, so I can't judge that one, but I can judge that first one though, and I was not at all happy about that. And it's like, it's weird, because it's kind of like, I just don't get what they was going for. Because when you look at the trailer, tell you the truth, every single last Sony villain looks slightly off. Sandman CGI looks worse than it did in the third movie. The Amazing Spider-Man Lizard looks basically the same. He's not wearing pants, he's not wearing the trench coat, and his nose doesn't have the stop. And so, like, with the Doc Ock, he looks the same except for he's de-aged, and I don't like de-aging technology whatsoever. And so, like, the what is it? Now, he is using Tony Stark's tech in his stuff, which kind of looks weird when you see the red in his tentacles, but his tentacles looks totally CGI. Nothing's practical about them. And so now you have this version of the Green Goblin. Like, seriously, what made this version of the Green Goblin want to change his outfit to look like this? That makes no sense. I know people don't like the Sam Raimi costume of the Green Goblin, at least the helmet, but I'm okay with it. I like it. I like the suit. The helmet could be a little bit smaller, a little bit better, and do some movement. But for the most part, it's a cool design nevertheless. It's weird and different, but you get used to it. And the thing about it is that a lot of people are like, oh, he looks like a Power Ranger. First things first. The person who came up with that was Weird Al. I love Weird Al. But let's just say this. None of y'all was saying that until he said it. And then the moment he said it, everybody started saying it. So chances are, if he never compared it to a Power Ranger, nobody else would either. It's been over 20 years. Get over that, people. And then so now, then we had the new Green Goblin, which it was okay looking. It just didn't look like a goblin. But it was okay looking because it was made to look more like a modern day thing a young person will wear. Okay, fine, that works for Harry Osborn in this version. Then, in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, we get a very new look at the Green Goblin. And even though his face looks really weird and stuff, he still looks like a Green Goblin. His costume is reminiscent of that of the Sam Raimi one, just a little bit different. His glider is kind of similar, and his face just looked like a mutated version of like the Ultimate version, but more human looking, and it's fine. You know, I always liked that design. They just didn't do much with that character because they rushed the crap out of that movie. And so I don't get what they're doing. I just don't get it. And not only that, but even Electro, even his suit looks kind of weird. It's like he's just wearing regular clothes and some weird exo thing. And I don't get it. Now, granted, the one in Amazing Spider-Man looked stupid with the blue face and whatever the world they were doing with his gap and everything. But at least his suit looked kind of okay looking and everything. It's just they dropped the ball on that. But it's just like, it's almost like Kevin Feige is just making fun of every like Sony Spider-Man villain there is. And I really don't understand why he's being so childish with this and having them look like this and crap. Like, I don't get why a 60-something-year-old billionaire who is technically dead, but I guess they pulled him moments before he died. Why in the world would he dress like this? Why is he trying to be hip and cool? Because they're trying to make it hip and cool for the young people. Because you know the MCU don't like old people. They really don't. Think about it. Aunt May. Enough said. And it's because I think somebody said, reported somewhere that Kevin Feige doesn't want that many older people in the MCU because the MCU is mostly for like younger people and they don't relate well to older people and stuff. And it's just like, that's dumb. Just make them the ages they're supposed to be. Make them act the way they're supposed to be. I don't like this version of the Green Goblin. It's dumb looking. And I don't see no green nowhere. And one reason why I'm even more pissed is because, you know, the Green Goblin was always my favorite Sam Raimi Spider-Man villain. Yeah, I like Doc Ock and everything. He was cool. But the whole him being controlled by his tentacle thing, that was just dumb. But I do like the Green Goblin. For the most part, that is Norman Osborn. It's just the chemicals are bringing out more of his bad side. But he's still acting like a normal person, whereas Doc Ock is just a completely different person who's being controlled by his little arm thing, but he's still cool and everything. And let's face it, that hand-to-hand fight scene towards the end of Spider-Man, the first movie, is still by far the best live-action Spider-Man fight we've ever had, period, in any live-action Spider-Man. That thing was gritty, that thing was raw, that thing was hardcore, and it was awesome. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.